Welcome to Villa Mirador. This is the place that I'm very lucky to call my home for the next 3 years. It's the residence of the U.S. Consul General in Casablanca. And it's been the residence of the U.S. Consul General since 1947. But our history with Villa Mirador goes back even farther. I think this weekend, as we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of Operation Torch, and later in a few months when we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the UNFA conference, we're very much focused on the things that took place here in 1942. The U.S. government had identified a few villas and a hotel where lots of really important people could gather and sort of plot what to do next in the campaign to defeat the Nazis and the Axis forces. And the Americans suggested that UNFA, that Villa Mirador and another villa close by in the UNFA hotel would provide the perfect platform for some of the Allied leaders to come together and to decide how to move forward. This house, Villa Mirador, was originally supposed to be the place where President Roosevelt would stay. But as you might know, President Roosevelt was in a wheelchair, and all of the bedrooms here in Villa Mirador are on the top floor. So they found a villa close by that had a bedroom on the ground floor and that would be comfortable for the president. And Winston Churchill came and stayed here instead. And he would come here and he would consult in this office with his closest advisors, and then he would walk across the street to where President Roosevelt and his advisors were staying and talk to them and get ready to go. And then they would all meet in a bigger group at the UNFA hotel and make a number of decisions. In the end, I think the reason why the UNFA conference is so important to Moroccan American history and to World War II is that the British and the Americans, with the support of Moroccans, were able to decide that they would accept nothing less than an unconditional surrender. This was a novel idea, and one that was really kind of a determining factor in the end of World War II. So we call this office the map room because, and you'll have a chance to sort of see the walls where we have all these wonderful historic photos. We have one of my favorite photos, which is of Sultan Muhammad welcoming these world leaders. And I think it's the perfect visual representation of the partnership that we saw then and that we continue to see today. But during the time when the Prime Minister was staying here and when he was doing all of his preparations for the UNFA conference, the walls were covered with maps. So imagine he would refer to this as his war room or as the map room. And so imagine all of the walls covered with maps with scribbling and notes on them as he and his advisors were thinking about what military and political strategic moves were necessary to try to defeat the Nazis and the Axis forces. So we have done our very best to preserve this place with the Prime Minister's desk, with some of his things. We've put up a lot of photos that were taken in this garden and in the garden of the UNFA Hotel, and that are real, that really kind of help bring us back into that period. But we've also tried to preserve the spirit of that time, the spirit of that time of hope, of kind of cooperation, of trust, all of the things that came together between the Moroccans, the British, and the Americans at this period of time, and that were so pivotal in the eventual defeat of the Nazis.
Oh, sorry. So during the UNFA conference in January 1943, this was when
I'm delighted to be here talking about this very important event we have, which is the 75th anniversary of Operation Torch. I'd like to say it's in the context of many other important dates that we're celebrating this year. As you know, Morocco was the first country to recognize the United States in 1777. So this is the 240th anniversary of Moroccan-American relations. We are also celebrating 230 years of the anniversary of the U.S.-Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which is, again, a fundamental document for us that actually is older than our United States Constitution. "75 years ago, this month, we're celebrating the anniversary of Operation Torch. And Operation Torch was the Allied forces' invasion of North Africa to liberate it from the Vichy French and Nazi forces. So what happened on November 8th in 1942 was the United States, along with British forces and assisted by our other allies, the Canadians, Australians, and the Dutch, landed here in Morocco as well as in Algeria and Tunisia. Here in Morocco, we landed in Safi, in Fidela, which I believe is now Mahmoudia, and also in what is now Kenitra. And at that time was called Port Louis, but it's now Kenitra. The importance of this operation probably cannot be overstated. It was absolutely critical because it was the first time that we had a successful Allied command. We had a joint force of British and American and other allies. We had a successful landing, amphibious landing from the ocean to the land, and we were able to achieve what we wanted through coordination that hadn't been as good as we had wished for in the past. You will see, I hope today we'll have a chance to visit this wonderful exhibit. It's a museum exhibit that's been produced by the Moroccan military and the U.S. Africa Command. It's highlighting Operation Torch, but they also have a lot of our common history. But one of the important things to see is that another famous general from the United States, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who went on to lead NATO and then become President of the United States, he was the overall commander of the operation in North Africa, including the efforts in Algeria and Tunisia. And General Patton was focused here on Morocco. There are some wonderful photos of General Eisenhower meeting with the Sultan, and then later President Eisenhower meeting with the King. So I think it showed how we had a great deal of respect and common purpose, and we were able to carry that through to a new chapter for Morocco and certainly a new chapter for us. So I think we're delighted to be here. It's a wonderful event. We hope that a lot of people will go and visit the museum, especially young people. I'd like everyone to recognize and understand that we in the United States feel the same degree of affection that you feel for us, we feel for you. We're here today at the Bhim Sikh cemetery. It's this beautiful, tranquil, lovely place, but is the home, the resting place of so many young people, soldiers who died in the cause of their country. What's very important to us as Americans is to remember those who have fought and died for us. And coming here, it shows that it is a universal impulse, I think, to venerate those who have given their lives in the cause of their country. I had the great honor to be here the morning of November 8th where we laid a wreath. I did this with my counterpart from the British government, the British embassy here, for the soldiers, American and British, who died during Operation Torch, which was the Allied invasion of North Africa. And it was really moving because it made both of us realize, and those of us who were here, it was a small group, that if not for the care and consideration and respect of the Moroccan military and our colleagues from the French diplomatic mission here, we would not have this beautiful resting place that would give comfort to the loved ones of those who are lost. And I think that it's something so important for people to realize, particularly maybe for Americans, when our soldiers go off and fight and die so far away from home, that the people of these countries show their respect and do so in such a beautiful and moving way. I shared with people that when I was in Belgium, of course, many American soldiers died in World War II in Belgium, and I met a woman who was telling me that her family, she's Belgian, her family had adopted the gravesite of a U.S. soldier who had died on the day that her mother was born in November of 1944. And they cared for this gravesite, and they put flowers on it, and they tended it. And at some point, a family member was in the United States and went to Texas and brought back some dirt. This was a young soldier from Texas, and brought back some dirt to bury in the gravesite of the soldier so that he would have something from home. And you know, this woman was telling me the story with tears coursing down her face, and her point was, this young man of 19 years old left his home, forsook his family, traveled thousands of miles to come to my country to fight and ultimately die so that I could be free. And I think it's so important that we remember that. And we're so grateful to the Moroccan military, the government of Morocco, our colleagues at the French diplomatic corps here, that they do care, and they show that care and consideration in this beautiful cemetery. So.
My name is Aljean Harmetz, and I'm the author of the book about the movie which took place in Casablanca at the beginning of American involvement in World War II. And I'm very excited to be here. It's a much different place from what I saw in the movie, on the movie screen. The movie itself came from a stage play that was never produced, that was created by a young man who went to Germany in 1937 or 38 and was horrified by what was happening. And he came home and wrote this play, Everybody Comes to Rick's. And it was not produced, but when World War II started for America on December 7th, 1941, everybody started looking for movies about the war, and they came across this play, and Warner Brothers purchased it for a very small amount of money, and it became the movie Casablanca. And I have my own ideas about this movie and why it has endured for 75 years when almost no other American movie made during World War II is even remembered today.
It's wonderful to be in Casablanca for the 75th anniversary of Casablanca. It's lovely that the two have this relationship and that we are invited to be a part of it. My father, Paul Henry, portrayed Victor Laszlo, who was the hero of the film, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be here to represent him and the film, and I'm sure they're all watching from above saying, oh my goodness, this film is still, you know, top on the list of films that are beloved across the world. It's just an honor to be here.
célèbre le 75e anniversaire du film Casablanca. Ici, cet événement a été fait conjointement entre le ministère du Tourisme et également l'ambassade des États-Unis au Maroc. On a eu, il y a pas mal de stars la famille d'Yael Ingrid Bergman et d'autres acteurs d'Yael le film qui sont venus ici pour célébrer ce 75e anniversaire. Et ce film qui a aidé quand même la ville de Casablanca à être connue mondialement et qui exprime l'ouverture et la tolérance et puis cette image qu'a le Maroc et Casablanca en particulier d'ouverture. Et voilà, merci.
Then by train or auto or foot across the rim of Africa to Casablanca in French Morocco. Here the fortunate ones